Hey everybody, it's Graham Coath with another My Music, and this is the end of Wednesday, which is great. You can put everything away, put your papers away, stop it right now, Keith. That's it. Put that back in its pencil case. You're going home in a minute, so just tune into this, get a cup of coffee, enjoy, watch this video, and then we'll talk to Ruby J. And there we go. And fresh from being interviewed by a reporter standing in the street, singing her heart out with only 2 strings, it's Ruby J. How are you?
Hi, I'm good. How are you?
Yeah. How did the busking go?
It was good. Random encounter. I wasn't expecting that. Quite funny, actually. I was literally trust me to be interviewed by the BBC with only 4 strings on my guitar.
Yeah. Hello, this is the BBC. What on earth are you doing out here in the street with only a couple of strings on your guitar?
Conversation. It was pretty much how it went, but it was good. Yeah, it was nice to be. My mum FaceTiming today. She was like, "You're on the TV." I was like, "What?" So,
it's one way to do it, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And what was it you were saying? You were trying to raise money to go on tour. Is that right?
Well, I busked to because as you know, being a musician is quite an expensive job, actually. I busk to get all my funds for mostly it's for travel to get to gigs because like petrol money and train tickets, and if I'm doing shows in London, it's just expensive to get there. And then just to be there itself is even more expensive,
takes me back those days when I used to drive a van into London and full of gear and park it. Back in the day, though, you used to be able to slip a parking person a bit of money. One of the traffic wardens a little bit of money, and they turn the blind up. No, sorry, I shouldn't be saying that. But anyway, back in the day, that's what it's all is. That's what it's all like. And I remember, having to park outside sort of Leicester Square, Piccadilly Circus for like 3 or 4 hours. You couldn't possibly do that these days, and humping equipment all the way up through the Cafe Royal there, etc. To play a gig. What fun it is, but people don't realise. They don't realise the hard work that it is taking music out there. Really don't. And
even I didn't. I was 13 and I started doing music. Never thought it would be this hard, but yeah, it's one of the hardest things I've ever done. I love it, don't get me wrong, I love it, but it like when nice things happen, it makes it worth it. Like, it is a lot of work, and I know other musicians and bands and artists that work also really, really hard.
We've got jokers coming in this afternoon. Sorry about this. In front of a young lady as well. It's most improper. Owen says he writes songs himself. I put pen to paper on one called Accident in the Toilet, knew straight away I had number 1 on my hands. Dear, oh dear. Brilliant. Just because of that, myself and Ruby will now actually write a song called Accident in the Toilet, and we'll get it to number 1 in the charts. There you go, Owen. It might well happen, Accident in the toilet. And we're just doing that. I was saying just before Ruby came on, what wonderful wall art she's got there. Lovely poster of Dark Side of the Moon by the wonderful Pink Floyd, and then above that, what's that set of photos that you've got there?
I'm very I love myself a good print. I love to
real print.
Memoirs. They're basically just loads of pictures of stuff I've done over the years, like in gigs and stuff at festivals. music. Just, wake up, remind myself of what I've done, keep me going.
Yeah, well done.
I
Nice one.
I like to put photos all over my room. So that's what they are. Yeah.
When did you first start actually producing the kind of music that you really wanted to start producing?
Actually, well, I remember the first time I was in the studio and was in a session and realized this is the music that I want to be making. And I finally, it took me a couple of years to find the sound. Like when I first started off, I think every artist is the same. It takes a while to, find your sound is something that you're comfortable with and something that you enjoy.
What about your voice as well? Because you've got a tremendous voice, and it's been well commented on. Paloma Faith, of all people, commenting on your voice. I mean, that's from someone that's got such a distinct voice, commenting on your voice. That's marvelous. But did you have to find your voice as well, or did you just naturally grow into it?
Yeah, I think. I definitely didn't sound like this 3 years ago.
Did you overdo it? Did you have bad habits?
No, I think it's just a matter of, I busk, like I said, I busk quite a lot. I do loads of gigs and I'm always practicing, I guess. So I think it's just literally from practicing and singing all the time. It's just my voice has just develops into what it is now, I think. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Like as much practice as you can get, I suppose. The more you practice, the better you get. So, yeah.
Yeah, no, it's always good. I have done this before, actually, on this program. When I get a fantastic female singer in, I always, mention this particular bit. And if you're up for the challenge, we go for it. But it's a little warm-up exercise that I like to do personally myself. But also, I mean, you're too young to actually remember the adverts, right? So later afterwards, you're going to have to go and Google them so that you find out, right? But there used to be a ladies' product advert, shall we say that, on the TV, which had a tremendous vocal, which was the body form adverts, and in it as well, it had this fantastic vocal, and it's what I call the body form moment. So. It's just if you're willing to give it a go, it's just where you go, wow, body form for you.
Wow, can I hear it again? That was
You're gonna make me do it again.
Yeah. If I'm gonna do it, you're gonna do it twice, mate.
Wow, body form for you. There you go.
Wow, body form for you.
Okay. Other products are available, and obviously, we changed that slightly so that there's no copyright on it. But there you go.
That's brilliant.
Yeah, it's just great. It's a great warm up. It's great. Great little thing to have out there. I feel. Hopefully, that won't get picked up by the algorithm and thrown off of YouTube. But yeah, so in terms of inspiration growing up, I mean, did you have a fairly musical house? Did people play music in your house, or was it tripe?
No, I grew up. My mum's half Jamaican. I'm quarter Jamaican myself, so I definitely grew up with a lot of reggae.
Cool.
A lot of Bob Marley, which was amazing. Obviously, because he's one of the greats. And a lot of Erykah Badu. I love Erykah Badu. That's kind of what I grew up listening to. But then as I discovered music myself when I got older, indie music was the first, was the start of my music career, really, because once I got into indie music, I just started discovering so much of it, and then I decided that's what I want to do. Like the Arctic Monkeys were the first band that made me want to become a musician. Like the way that Alex Turner writes songs inspired me to want to write my own music and pick up a guitar. So that's what I discovered so much music after that. And I got into different genres. Like I love soul music, is one of my all-time favorites, and a lot of like old school jazz, like Billie Holiday stuff, and a lot of funk stuff, like James Brown. Love James Brown. And I just like got into this whole world of music, and because it's nowadays we're so lucky because we literally can reach it at the the ends of your fingertips. You can find so much, like all the stuff in YouTube. Yeah, I
Do you
think.
like stuff that kind of crosses over as well? I mean, do you love stuff like Ezra Collective and stuff like that,
Yeah,
where it's got a little bit of, it's a little bit funky, a little bit jazzy, a little bit,
as well, because you think that it's really special, and it does, and because there's not much of it, it's really cool to listen to. Yeah, you can respect it more.
Yeah, definitely. So, I mean, that's a lovely, very kind of background in terms of different things. Did you, when you started to discover sort of indie music, in particular, did you? I mean, you said sort of Alex Turner and the Arctic Monkeys, but was there a female voice in amongst there that you sort of gravitated towards because you went, well, I've got to kind of put a female voice on this. So,
Well, I ever sort of sat back and thought I need to listen to a female musician. But speaking of female musicians, there is a brilliant, and I did discover her work at the same time, to be fair. She's Jade Bird, and I think she's from London. And she's amazing. She's got a beautiful, stunning voice, but it's also really powerful, and her music's brilliant, and she's a really great songwriter. And she definitely also, it was the same time I discovered the Arctic Monkeys, I think, and she definitely inspired me to write as well, just because the way that she writes is beautiful. And when you listen to like a whole album, you can see how much work goes into it, especially like the production on her songs. It's just all, when you listen to something and you're just like, wow, you can't fault it, because it's just like, it's brilliant.
it's just it's just sonically perfection.
Yeah,
And you just want to listen to it over and over again because all of those little nuances come out.
Yeah, she's an artist that inspired me a lot, and she's great. I'd love to see her live. I haven't yet, but I'd love to. Yeah.
Oh, you've got to make that happen.
I know, it's on the list.
Yeah. Well, you have to go, and then you have to get up on stage.
Oh yes, that's the plan.
And do a little duet together.
Love to. She's brilliant.
Well, as this goes back round on Twitter and all of those other things later, what you need to do, because that's what I encourage guests to do, is tag her in, put and then they would just say there was a mention in here of this person, and then occasionally they get in touch, which is great, and then it all happens, and then you never know.
You never know.
You could be there.
You might be the reason.
That could, well, it wouldn't be the first time.
I have to get you on stage to do your body form bit. That would be amazing.
Yeah, exactly. People would pay really good money for that. What are you writing about in terms of, being a young lady in the modern world, etc.? What sort of subjects come to mind?
Well, I'm only 17 myself, so when I write, I like to create, these like sort of stories in my head, because number one, I think it's kind of easier to write, because you can make anything happen in your own story, I suppose, and you can make the songs more interesting.
You can create an alternative universe for yourself. Yeah.
And it's more fun for me. And when you're in the studio and you perform this vocal, you can sort of imagine, the story behind it, and you get more, I don't know, emotion in your vocal, because you know what's going on in your mind in the story, so you can like put yourself in the shoes of the character. Which I think is really fun to do. And
I think that's the time of life to do it as well. I mean, and I don't mean that disrespectfully, but but when you get to my age, then you start potentially writing about yourself a bit.
Yeah, exactly. That's kind of why I do it, because I'm only 17. There's not much life experience yet.
Thank goodness.
You know what I mean? Not really things. I mean, I'm sure there are a few things that I could write about, but I think it's
in a way, would it feel inauthentic, to use the term, to go, well, I've had a million breakups, and I've been through hell and back. If you haven't been through hell and back, because you just why you can't really write about it.
Exactly. I think if something did happen, I don't know, something interesting in my life, I think I'd know when the time is right to write about that. I think you have to know when to write about it. You can't just force it, because then it is, like you said, it's inauthentic. It's not, I think it's now I like to create these stories and form a song, and I think it's more interesting for other people to listen to as well. Lyrically, it's fun to write and fun to perform, because, like I said, you can imagine it in your own head, the story. So
yeah. What's next in terms of your career for you? What had you know, in terms of the ambition levels? Are you looking to get an album out? Are you looking to you know, world tour, Wembley Stadium?
well,
where are we at level wise?
I've just got myself a band together, a backing band, which is really exciting because I've been a acoustic artist ever since.
Well, that's useful, especially if you're going to break strings, isn't it? You know, at least they can keep going if the strings break. I've broken my strings again. Don't worry, we'll keep going.
I'm sure it will happen. I'm sure it will happen on stage. But yeah, so I've just got myself a band together. They're really great, really good. I've got a sax player, I've got a trumpet player, I've got the works. And the idea was to replicate the produced songs as good as I can live. And I'm really excited. And then my first full band show was in Wigan, the 18th of March. So soon, tickets are on sale. So that's going to be really exciting. I've got a Birmingham show to announce soon, which is going to be in March. And lots more to announce. Got festivals going on. I'm sure I'll be back in the studio soon.
Cool.
Yeah, but
always make sure, as I say to every guest that comes on, and some listen to me, some don't, because that's just the way that life goes. Do make sure at some point you include the southwest of England in there as well. I think maybe one of the things you should be going for, if I can give you a sort of piece of advice as an older and wiser gentleman, is you probably need to be getting a sponsorship very soon from a string manufacturer. So maybe the Ernie Balls of this world, if you're listening. There you go. You can actually give.
Yeah.
Then you wouldn't have to buy strings ever again.
I've had so many messages today or sponsor me for string. It's quite funny. I didn't think this would happen. It's quite it's my strings, which is hilarious. I think it's quite funny.
There you go. So you can pick and choose now.
Strings. String circuit, yeah.
Oh, there you go. In fact, Ruby J may even be starting up on her website a little tip jar so that you can actually just put money in there to buy her strings. If you want to. Then she, done that. Why busking? Because actually, not everybody goes out busking, but you obviously really enjoy that. I always really enjoyed busking. Is it? There's a vulnerability with busking, though, isn't there? But it's actually, there's such a closeness with the immediate audience, and you've got to win people over especially these days, whilst they're busy sort of on their phones and everything else.
I find it quite fun because I like on the weekends, especially. It's obviously more busier and no one's at school, and you see all these I always see these little toddlers and they love it because they've never seen it before, and you can see their faces and they're just like amazed by what's going on. There's music in the streets, and then they come in, put some money in, and then sometimes they do a little dance, and that's really funny.
Oh,
but I think it's amazing. I've met so many cool people as well from busking, and I've met some brilliant people, and where I live in Stafford, there's really good support from people, and they always ask about how the music's going on, and they know why I'm doing it, so I can fund the things, so I can do the actual shows, and get in the studio and whatever. And it's paid practice at the end of the day, if you think about it. I definitely wouldn't be, not to sound cocky, I wouldn't be as good as I am today if I didn't,
Yeah. No, I think it's a great way to kind of learn the art of actually trying to win an audience over as well. Because as I say, they're not there to listen to you. No. But if you can make them listen to you, that's great, And then when it gets to actually a proper gig, even when the room's full, because there's always some novices at a gig where they just stand there with their pint like that.
Oh yeah.
And you've got to try. You've got to try real hard to win those people over.
Yeah.
I've had an idea. Because I'm full of ideas. That's what I spend my life doing all day long for people, is that I come up with ideas. I've got an idea for you now that you've got your band.
Go on.
Because I haven't seen this for ages. I saw it once and it was brilliant. And I think you could really pull it off, especially now, as you've had a bit of TV coverage on it as well, is you could do that thing. A few years back, everybody was doing those breakout dancing where Yeah. So you could start off there in the street, just you alone, whatever, but have the rest of the equipment going out, and then have some of your band just kind of walking past, and then kind of you pretend like you're grabbing them and pulling them in, and then they join in. That would just be great.
I think I'm gonna do that one day. Flash mob, flash band.
Flash band.
It needs to happen.
It does, doesn't it?
Yeah. Wow.
Wouldn't that be great? You could have some and then film it. Film it and then get that put out on kind of social whatever. You could even send it back to the BBC and they'd probably do it again because they've had you there now. You kind of coast you on the list.
On to a winner here, Graham. I think that needs to happen. Flash band. Yeah.
Flash band. Yeah. What song would you do as a group?
Oh, it's got to be one of my own. Plug myself again on TV. It's got to be.
No, definitely. But which of your songs would you go for?
But my favourite at the moment is an unreleased song that I jammed out with the band actually the other day in the rehearsal, and it's called Home. And it was the first time I did it as full band, and it sounded really exciting at the moment. So I'd do that.
There we go.
Unreleased.
Exclusive, folks. What we'll do as well is the day that you're going to do it, let me know, and we will put it out across the interweb first in the morning, and we'll say if you're here at a certain time,
flash.
So we actually get quite a big crowd there to kind of watch it, and it'll be good. It'll be great.
Yeah, I think I piss off the entire Staffordshire Council, but that's okay. It's okay.
Hey,
rock and roll,
We could even get Staffordshire Council down.
Oh yeah.
Get them down and grooving, and actually, they'd enjoy all of that. So we know tours happening. I don't know whether you answered. Are you gonna produce this as an album at some point?
I don't think it's the right time for an album. I think that's a matter of building
a good stock of work.
Yeah. But there's no point in putting an album out if no one's going to listen to it, and I think it's something that maybe a couple of
no one's going to listen to it. Listen,
no
to
one they might not.
Okay. Well, we're when this interview's gone out, Ruby, when this interview's gone out, we'll get people voting on that. Would you listen to a Ruby J album? Of course, actually, when you hear the results back, you'll realise that people would. But yeah, carry on.
Like an EP or something in the future. I think an album is probably another 5 years, let's say. And you never know. It might be next year. You never know.
You never know. You never know. You've got a great start to your career. I mean, you're doing it for all of the right reasons. You've got a fantastic voice, which you need to look after. So plenty of honey and lemon at night. And yeah, all right. Okay. I was going to say alcohol, but you're underage. But
can't do that.
Not yet. Not yet. Maybe next year. But I wish you all the best with it. And thank you for coming on and telling me a little bit about your music. Before you go, a question that I've asked a million times from what seems like a million different people, but I'll ask it to you now. Mm-hmm. If you could collaborate with one person, dead or alive, who would it be and why?
My answer will always be the same, because I believe this person is just in every way, shape and form brilliant. Paolo Nutini is my all-time favourite artist. Just his voice is just like, there are no words. It's golden, and the way he controls his voice, and each album that he produces is just a work of art. So it's got to be Paolo.
And that there is a tiny little clip which I shall take out and shall repurpose onto the internet with Paolo tagged in, so that might happen.
It will happen.
Yeah, it will happen. Yeah. Can you imagine if you were on his next album?
Well, I'll have to credit you. I'd have to get credit.
That's fine. That's fine.
vocals, we're sorted.
It's the way. Listen, if you don't ask in this world, you don't get.
Is right.
It's the advice that I give to everybody. It's the advice to live by. If you want to make it happen, ask, and then it shall happen, or maybe it will. But there you go. Listen, it's been brilliant seeing you today. In terms of where people can listen to your music at the moment, it's on all of the streaming services, I take it. But is there a best place to go and get your music from?
I mean,
Are you collecting names and addresses under GDPR legally on any kind of website or anything like that? Are you, okay. Well, think about that. Think about that as well, because it's it's important to build that fan base at this early stage in order to.
I don't know. Probably, I don't know.
Yeah, the manager will know. Manager, are you collecting all the names? Do put wherever you want the names to go afterwards when this goes out again, so that that we can sort all of that out. Ruby, it's been a pleasure. Hope you've enjoyed this on your Wednesday.
It was great. It's fun.
And you've been a smashing guest. Please, everybody, go and check out Ruby J's music. Remember, Paloma, even Faith, says she's a fantastic voice, and if she thinks she's a fantastic voice, she must be. So until next time, this has been the wonderful My Music. You can subscribe to this. You can download it and all sorts of things. You can even listen to it afterwards on Spotify. But please don't do that at the same time as drinking and driving.
No,
because that's naughty anyway. So don't do that. Until next time. Bye for now, everyone. Bye.